So here we've got a 6/8 snap Dale Wilson board from the last swell we had out at Burleigh. Callum here sticking it back together. Heaps of different ways to do this, but we tend to use thick-ish ice cream consistency to stick it together. Some people use super runny, but it kind of goes everywhere. It does get in every crack and stuff like that if you do it super runny, but it's a lot harder to get the rocker. I feel like the thicker the Q cell is to stick it back together, you hold the rocker better, it sits nice and it's slightly easier. But in saying that, there's heaps of different ways you can do it, so this isn't the only way. So here we got it bogged, ready for blending. Got to sand all that Q cell and shape it, and then ready for glass. We do kind of a butterfly looking patch. This one was a bit of an experiment. I actually did one layer of 6 ounce on the bottom. This is our personal board, so if it does break again, it's not a big deal. But we do fix a heap of snap boards in the shop, so if we try a bunch of different ways, figure out what works the absolute best, then trial and error. Here we are blending our laps, ready for the top layer. The deck, I just stuck to the 2 4-ounce patches. I think this is what most people do. Again, there's a heap of different ways you can do things, so this isn't the only way, so I don't want to see people comment, you're fucking doing it wrong, because you can do it a bunch of different ways. 2 layers, butterfly patches, nice and wet, wrap the laps. Ready for an extra layer of secret sauce that we do. So here we've got our filler coat over the top of our patches, so we use laminating resin to glass it, which I believe is slightly more flexy than filler coat resin, or resin mixed with wax and styrene, and we filler coat the whole thing. Realistically, this could now be sanded with, say, 180, 120 or 180, 150 or 180, and finished and surfed, but the way we like to do it is, this is basically your filler coat. So we'll blend all that in, most likely get a couple of sand throughs, as long as you don't go all the way through it. Sand throughs as in weave showing through, which isn't the worst thing, but it's sometimes it just doesn't look very nice. We'll blend all that in like this with 40 grit, get it all nice and perfect, and get it ready for a finish coat. So this is our 6-inch disc, 40 grit sandpaper, blending everything in, and then don't forget to block it. Very important to block it. Gets out a heap of bumps and stuff. Hard work, but hard work normally works, to put it that way. So here you've got your finish coat. I missed the bottom video, but you get the idea. When we do this with my finish coat, it's close to perfect. So we start with 180 grit. Some guys like to start with 150, but I just find it's a bit harsh and you can't get the nicest finish. So here's your 180 all blended, top and bottom and rails. Careful with the rails, you want to do most of it by hand on the rails. Easiest place to sand through, so be careful. Once that's done, that could be finished, 400 wet rub, and it would be totally fine. But we like to do an Orby finish. I do a hard pad Orby, then I put the soft pad on the Orby, and this basically gets it as one big nice piece, so to speak. Everything blends in nice and perfect. And here you have the finished product. Full snap, 6-ounce bottom, 2 4-ounce patches on the top, filled, shaped, glassed, and finished. I don't like to do any sort of spray over the top because you're just trying to hide something that looks absolutely horse shit. You might as well just leave it as is. People know it's been snapped. We're not trying to sell it. Ready for a crack at Burleigh.